what, we really have to look at the whole person. It's the mind and body connection together that produces success.
And why have you decided to go this way to be focusing on the helping the business?
And so it's like there has to be a better way. And just that thought of like companies really don't understand they're shooting themselves in their own foot. Let's be proactive, maybe get some of these things changed, maybe help with employee wellness.
So thank you very much,
Yes.
Lori, for coming to my podcast, Business Breakthroughs. And I would like you to start, if you can share, what is it you do? I can see behind you that you have Van Wellness Group. So I'm assuming it's something to do with the holistic approach to your success. So would you mind to sharing us a little bit more about that and about yourself?
Yes. Well, I believe that there's maybe different paths to healing and that every person's journey is unique, just sort of like every business's path to success is unique. And based on my over 25 years of clinical counseling experience and a lot of research and interactions with people in the medical field and things that I've seen, that decided that, what, we really have to look at the whole person. It's the mind and body connection together that produces success. And how it applies to business is that if your team isn't psychologically or physiologically healthy, then unfortunately, your business probably isn't going to be financially healthy either, because your team does determine your business's success or failure. So that's a little bit of that, but yes, I run my own full-time private practice, have for 17 years, professional speaker, have done many keynotes all over the United States and some internationally, written 5 books, and have given, oh gracious, hundreds and hundreds of interviews all over the place.
Oh, amazing. Sounds great. Thank you very much for sharing. So you mentioned that you are looking as the person as a whole, and you kind of relate it to a business. So are you focusing basically helping business people, like their companies, with that approach, so they feel good as a whole person, and you are helping them with that, or also like it just someone will just come to you because you mentioned you have that practice and they have some problem, and instead of just focusing on this one problem, you are looking at the whole of them.
It's actually both.
Mhm.
So I do see individuals, oftentimes professionals, in whether that's individual counseling or coaching. And then I have also partnered with and worked with many businesses to go in and either do workshops, whether those are lunch and learns or other more formal workshops to educate, whether it's leadership, specifically, because I've done leadership training so that they can understand better communication and what leadership actually means, or with just the business as a whole as they're going through transitions. There's one company that had me come in to discuss boundaries in the workplace, and that was there are some awkward situations taking place. Another one, they had done many layoffs and Uh, employee morale was not the greatest, and so they had me come in and help with that transition. And then some are just really wanting to be proactive and decrease the likelihood of team members either leaving, getting burnt out, needing to go on what we call short-term disability in the United States. And so some of those companies have had me come in repeatedly throughout the years to do those educational trainings.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay, thank you very much. All right. So, for example, one of the things you mentioned is you help somebody in the company with employee morale. So, how do you do that? Like, what has to happen in order for them to be from like, oh yeah, it's a brand new day. It's good. Let's work together. How do you change that morale?
Well, it's not an overnight process, to be clear, and that in any organization, you're going to have levels of resistance. So, first and foremost, it's just checking to see if the management is on board with it. Sometimes they're really great at giving lip service and they go, yeah, 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 that sounds good. But then they're not willing to implement or role model the ideas themselves. And so that's problem number one is if you want your team to buy into it, you have to have leadership also be willing to follow through with it because they are the role models. Um, in speaking with the individual team members or when we get into groups, one of the pieces is developing trust. I'm a complete stranger. And
Mm,
unfortunately, I did consulting work with a nonprofit who was very interested in having their team members stay on board because they were having some morale issues. They also had some hiring issues, not hiring the best fit for some of those positions, and so I did consulting work on that too. But there was initial hesitancy when I met with the team members without leadership present because they were concerned of retaliation. And I went and reassured them, like, no, what we say in here and what we're covering is supposed to stay in here. And then afterwards, the leadership would have me come and do reports, and I would keep it real generic as possible. Um, but got the sense of like, okay, I don't think leadership is being as transparent with me, and that they're maybe using some of that information in a negative way against their team. And then there is an option where team members could meet with me individually. Well, in the billing, then leadership found out who was seeing me individually, and then conveniently within a month, that person was let go, even though leadership had no idea what we were speaking about. So that's some of the problems is that a lot of team members are very concerned about seeking any kind of help, so they keep it to themselves, and that just increases burnout. So that's one of the things that before I even do a workshop or before I do get really into those aspects is I gotta be on the same page with leadership and they have to understand the best
mm,
way to handle this.
mm. And in general, there would be the owners or the board. They would basically book you to come and help to that company, but after you need to go through the barrier first to be actually on board with the managers, right?
Yes, and the hierarchy, it depends on the size of the company, if it's national versus international. Sometimes the CEO isn't so much involved with it, and it's more of the immediate directors or directors over a particular section or whatever the org chart might be. Uh, but whoever is the top person of that particular section and is making the decision of me come in, that's the person that I want to meet one on one with, or whoever their other assistant directors and managers may be.
Mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm. And why have you decided to go this way to be focusing on the helping the business people with the problem? Why not just to stick to the person, your patients who are coming to your practice? What led you to go to the whole business?
Yes, it's really because when I was working solely in a outpatient practice, it was part of a hospital, and we were in the midst of it. It's an area called Irving Las Colinas area, and there are a lot of really big corporations that are located there. And I would consistently see a lot of business professionals, different levels of the org chart that were coming in stressed out, burnt out, and I was filling out their short-term and sometimes long-term disability. And so it's like there has to be a better way.
Mm-hmm,
And just that thought of like companies really don't understand they're shooting themselves in their own foot when they do these kind of things, this micromanagement, that they're losing some of their best team players. And those team players are either going to go to some other company, to their competitor, or they're just going to quit the game altogether and go do something else, which is a loss for everybody because that person has unique talents that need to be shared with not just that company, but to just possibly better the immediate community. And
mm-hmm,
so that was the starting point is need to get more into these companies so that we produce all of this ripple effect that has nothing but negativity on society.
Mm, mm. And what was the most difficult for you in this career so far? Like any challenges where you were facing, I don't know, getting to these companies or changing the, I don't know, morals of employees? Was there any very difficult challenges for you?
There are definitely challenges with the company mindset of very short-term thinking instead of long-term thinking. And they go, oh, well, it's an expense to have a consultant or a speaker come in. And that's very short-term thinking. Instead of seeing it as, hey, let's be proactive, maybe get some of these things changed, maybe help with employee wellness and keep them on board. And maybe, yes, there's the initial cost for it, but the long-term benefits and the money that the company saves by far outweighs any initial expense. And it's just been the struggle of getting companies to really think not even long term. We're talking just, within the next 6 months or 1 year trajectory of what that kind of proactive thinking can do.
Mm, mhm. Yeah. Yeah, so a lot of companies would be thinking more like a short term, yeah. So yeah, so can see this expense. You mentioned you've done a lot of keynotes, right, all over the country, plus also internationally. And how did you come up with that from doing what you were doing suddenly, also doing the keynotes and delivering speeches? How this evolved?
It really is, it's a variety of ways. So keynotes have primarily been in the behavioral health space and a lot of behavioral health conferences, whether that's for fellow counselors or social workers or people in academia, but have also done different trainings for things that are a little bit more business and corporate oriented. Those have been sometimes through other connections. Um, I was the North American representative for one particular company of Workplace Mental Health Institute. So I was their North American rep. And I would fly out to different locations, New York, Colorado, Boston, all over, and would then do the presentations for those different companies. Sometimes it was a museum, sometimes it was a Fortune 500, sometimes it was a organization that focused on athletes. So it just very much depended on the group. But
Mm,
it's been an absolute joy. And then they also assisted with the international speaking part. um, some of that was taking place during COVID restrictions, so the trainings were done online, but for organizations located throughout Australia
mm,
and then literally just throughout the world.
mm, mm. Okay. So do you still go and speak on stages?
Yes.
Yeah, you do.
So it depends on the stage and what comes up, and I'm a little bit more selective on that. Many conferences, unfortunately, have also developed not the best mindset when it comes to for paying for quality
Mhm.
versus just having a body on the stage speaking. And trend I've seen in conferences is they want more of their speakers to give not just of their time, but to actually pay for their registration to attend the event.
The
And
speaker.
that there are different conferences that then make you spend thousands of dollars to not just attend the conference, but to have a booth or a table at their event. And
Oh yeah.
so it's not a pleasant shift. So I've been much more selective in where I speak.
Yeah. I know what you mean. I'm actually going on one of like that. I've been last year as well. I approached this conference. There was a London business show. If they would have any availability for a speaker, and I was happy to go and just speak for free, and just deliver my speech, get the more practice, get some views, and and they were like, okay, we have these stalls, and you can buy the stall, and we'll give you this speaking slot. And I did that, and it was good. There was a lot of new leads coming and things like that. But yeah, it's not for a speaker who wants to get paid. It's not the best obviously approach, because it's a lot of work behind it afterwards with those people who are coming to actually make something from it. So you said there is more of things like that coming in the USA as well, yeah?
Yes, it's been a shift since COVID. Because prior to COVID, it may have been a situation of, okay, if you're a breakout speaker, then we'll at least pay for your conference so you
Mm,
can attend that, and they would pay for the one hotel night, either the night before the conference or the night that you spoke, either one. But they would do things like that in lieu of a speaking fee.
mm,
And since COVID, I've seen a lot of conferences just become very cheap. They're
mm,
still charging for the tickets. They're still charging quite a bit for their tickets. They're just not willing, and it's an unfortunate thing because I think it really compromises the quality of speakers that you get. And it's very short-sighted of them because they have plenty of other sponsorship opportunities. And yeah, unfortunately, it's something I'm encountering more and more often of speakers are not just not being paid to speak and giving their content for free, and you can't even sell from the stage. You're not even allowed to mention your products. You're not
mm,
allowed to do anything. And they want you to give all this stuff in addition to paying to be on that stage or paying to have the booth and paying for the conference. It's just ridiculous.
mm. I think it's maybe because I mean, maybe I see it because I'm obviously also speaking and interested in that. So maybe it's just popping up. And I think there is kind of not the trend, but people wants to become speakers. I think there is a lot of
Mhm.
people like there is more coaches, there's more people like that. So, and I'm one of them. So we want to be speakers, we want to speak. And I think that because there is a lot of demand, so they are now, okay, we're not gonna pay you, you pay us. So it's because there is too many to choose from. And like you said, maybe there it will be worse quality, but they see
Yeah.
that they can now start doing things like that, which before they couldn't because there was not that many speakers. Mm,
Yes, and there are a lot of programs that sell the fantasy of make 10,000, 20,000 a gig. And what's not really honest about that is those that are making in that 15, 20,000 a gig have a certain level of authority of they're a former athlete, they're a former
mm,
federal employee if it's, for the United States. They have some true celebrity status. They have a huge following, that they have these things. The average Joe Schmo is not going to command a 5,000 speaking gig. And yeah, a lot of the speaking coaches aren't very honest about the reality because I can say I charge, 10,000 for a gig, but I'm also going to be staying at home a lot too because no one's going to pay that 10,000
mm,
for a 1 hour keynote.
mm,
So I do encourage people that are considering speaking that you really need to vet the people that you're getting coaching from on that. I have gone through many speaking coaches, some of them more credible than others.
mm,
And one of the big things is you want to ask them first and foremost, how many stages are they on? How many
mm.
stages in a year? And more importantly, how many of those were actually paid gigs where they were paid as a speaker
Yeah.
to do that? Because I know of some that they're on plenty of stages, and you can get on a lot of free stages. That's
Mm,
not hard to do.
yeah.
That's pretty easy to get on a lot of free stages.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
but to actually get paid, that's a whole different ballgame.
Mm,
And yeah, there's a lot of things I can say about the speaking business and some of the ins and outs of it. and
Mm.
some of the deceptive pieces and things that you really actually don't need to spend money on.
Mm, yeah, yeah, it'll be good to you can actually share more about that. I would like to know. And just two things came to my mind. One thing is, like you said, like people would say like, okay, you make 10, 15,000 from speaking, sign up with me or I'll teach you or whatever. Probably they forgot to mention that the conference make 10 or 15,000 from you when you become a speaker with me. The other way around. Not that you make it.
Yes.
And where the branding comes to it, because obviously you are a part of the JT Fox, and we both are now. I'm very new to it. I don't know how long are you involved with JT Fox, if you want to share, and have you done any branding, and is that helping you with your business as well?
Yes. So I've been with JT for 8 years
Nice.
and have done the stage several times. The one stage that has paid off the most, that it by far is the most beneficial, and it was just a lightning striking situation. Some of it was a lot of prep. I mean, definitely a lot of preparation on my part for it. But I did an interview with Dr. Phil, which is spot on for my brand because he is a counselor
Yeah.
and he's also from Texas. So he and I had that instant connection right there that really helped the interview in of itself. I had advantages that I think some of the other interviewees didn't because I was in the same field as him, and we both
Mhm.
lived in the same Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Mhm.
And then I was able to ask a question of him, and this was during a time when we used to be able to write our own questions. And I spoke to him counselor to counselor and talked with him about non-suicidal self-injury,
Mhm.
which I'm an authority in that topic, and I knew that he had experience in it too. And so he and I were able to have a discussion about that. That interview and what he said to me because of that kind of question, that kind of connection that we had, um, helped, launch other speaking events.
Mhm.
That did get my foot in the door for different speaking engagements and for different media interviews.
Mhm.
It helped a lot, and it was such a great interview. That's the one that JT literally used all over the world. He would show that literally all over the world because I had friends in different parts and they would send me the screenshots of like, "Hey, he's showing the video again." And so, that was wonderful, and by far that's been the best experience and was worth it. But it was this great putting together of several things all at once.
Mhm. Mhm. Amazing, amazing. Good to hear. Good to hear. And so you mentioned that, if you don't mind, you said about we're just going with that at the moment with the speaking. You said like I could share with you more ins and outs, what maybe not to do. It'd be very good to hear because in here in UK, I'm a part of the Professional Speaking Association. It's just you have also that in USA actually, and so we meet every month different regions in USA you have it called chapters, I believe, and after once a year it's a conference, and people are focusing there on different things. It'll be very nice to hear from you, maybe what not to do, because I have a kind of good idea what not to do from what I'm seeing people doing. But yeah, I would like to hear from you.
Yeah. So for the selling of the stage thing, because I get pitched regularly, different speaker coaches that go, "Hey, we want you to speak on our stage," and I already have that weird little vibe, and I go, "Okay, well, how much are you going to pay me?" Well, it's actually that you would pay us, and you'd be on the same stage of so and so, and the celebrities and I use it really loosely on that term, aren't particularly impressive.
Mhm.
And unless you're on this stage with that celebrity at the same time, like doing an interview, and that's where I'd say interviews probably do pay off a little bit more for that branding and credibility versus just a stage shot. Because realistically, for speakers, if you hire anyone or just have someone take a picture of you on a stage, that's automatically building credibility.
Mm.
So there are some shots that look better than others. If you can be on an actual true stage and be higher up and just hide over the audience in that kind of angle, yeah, that picture is going to look better than if you're just on the floor even with the audience. That's not as impressive of a speaking shot. Or if you're on a stage that's maybe a foot high. Okay, well, yeah, that's a little bit of something, but again, it's not as impressive looking as if you're on a stage that's higher up or in a theater where obviously a theater stage is going to look more impressive
Mm.
in nature. There's a level of credibility. But yeah, there's different ways to finagle that. I mean, I guess you could even technically, if you had connections with the theater, pay them a couple of $100, have them do some lighting and take a picture of you on a stage,
Mm.
and no one would know how many people were in the audience. So, I mean, yeah, is it a little deceptive? It is, but a lot of things in speaking are all about appearances.
Mm.
And most people don't ask questions. They don't. They make a lot of assumptions. And when
Yeah.
people see individuals on the stage, they make certain assumptions about your level of success. They don't know how many people were in the audience or not. They don't know if it was a good speech or not. It's just that picture. Now, in the same vein, you want to have actual video of you speaking. That is a really big requirement. Uh, Everyone wants to have that speaker reel. So
Mm.
whenever you do speak, try to get a variety of shots and a variety of places where you're speaking at, but get those clips. And someone can record it on their phone, and some of the phones have such great quality. You can really get professional level video off of it and definitely save some money. And it's all
Mm.
in how they do the angle of the video that gives you more credibility or not. If you're, let's say, speaking at an event for 5 minutes, doing like a basic little info thing, and you're on the same floor as the audience, well, the person shooting it, if they're shooting it from an angle up and they're getting more of your body upshot, it still looks like you're commanding authority.
Mm.
So there's a lot of tricks to it, but by no means do you need to pay every single time to be on a stage to get credibility.
Yeah. It's actually going back to that conference, it's like you mentioned that uh, we can go and we need to pay and we had the stall. And when I did book it, it was the first time I've never been. And after there was
Mhm.
all these upsells, like, do you want this boot style like that? This, and I'm like, okay, I paid so much, I don't want any of this. I'm just gonna have two banners, I'll see how it goes. But after all these cameramans, like, you're gonna speak there, I'm gonna shoot you for a day, that much, and another one. And everybody was trying to, make a video and how important it is. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but I already have a lot of videos, but it's a different stage. And everybody's trying to sell you something, and it sometimes can be so much, and you just need to make a decision like, what do I really need? And it's so easy sometimes to just get and just be paying because you think it's going to help, and after you're like, oh, it didn't really help.
Yeah, and that's the thing. There have been different things that I've purchased or invested in, and it hasn't returned anything. And again, by far, Dr. Phil did pay for itself, that opportunity. It did, but there have been other things that they didn't.
Yeah.
Like I didn't get any speaking gigs from it. Um, yeah, it's like, okay, great. I got pictures, I've got some video, but it
Yeah.
didn't translate
Yeah.
to sales. And
You
that's
have
true
to,
not just in speaking, that's true for a lot of things that are for sale out there.
yeah. Yeah, you never know where it's gonna go and which one is gonna work and which ones won't. So yeah, important is doing it. And yeah, it's just I was wondering about the things to do and not to do, because I see a lot of people in here where I'm going for the meetings regarding the speaking. They are so focused on the speaking itself, the perfecting how I'm gonna share the story and having the best slides and everything. But you know, I think it's good that you are good with that, but I think a lot of people, they don't know, they don't market themselves, they don't know how to sell themselves and to see it as a business. So yeah, maybe they have a good speech, but if they're not going to sell it, it doesn't really matter. So yeah, I'm actually not focusing as much on the speech, and sometimes I don't even prepare. I just go. The last speech I've
Yeah.
done so it was a free keynote. They invited me and I came. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. And I just asked them, what do you want to know? Like regarding
Hmm.
business, because this is what I was, and they gave me a list of ideas. I wrote it on the board, and after we were just discussing and going through that, and I can kind of made that from that because I didn't know what they needed, and but I think it's more about be able to position yourself, sell it, brand it yourself, than actually be focusing too much on the speaking all the time. Yeah, I don't know.
It's a hit and miss. You absolutely have to have the confidence piece. You have to know your stuff because, and it depends on your audience. I would, add that into it. Um, I guess good example is if I go and give a presentation in front of other counselors, I better know my stuff
Yeah.
because invariably you're going to have a smarty pants in there that wants to be on the stage themselves, and for whatever reason, they aren't. And maybe that's a jealousy thing,
Mm,
whatever it is. Typically, if you have a room of 50 people, you're going to have at least one person that has negative feelings to you. And you might have not done anything. You may have never even met them, but
mm,
it's people and their own egos. But the thing is that you have to be prepared for that reality, and that someone, because they're having a whatever day, they want to make you look bad. So if
mm.
you're going to speak in front of a group of your peers, you better know that topic, and you better have the confidence that exudes that you know that topic. And that comes from preparation.
Yeah.
Now, if I were to do a speaking event in front of from for business people, and I'm doing it on the wellness piece of it, well, I know they're not experts in wellness. I am. So it's a little bit less of a concern or stress of, oh, I'm going to need to know some statistics, or I'm going to need to know more specifics about the sympathetic nervous system, because I know they don't have that level of training and probably not that level of interest to get into the nitty gritty of
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
So you do have to have the preparation. And I think JT says this phrase too. It's like, it's work ethic eliminates fear, or I would say preparation eliminates anxiety. And it's true. The more you've practiced it, the more you know how you want to open on that stage, because you have a handful of seconds to make an impression once you step on that stage. And people are instantly judging you, and you're either going to get their attention or you're not.
Absolutely.
And and again, it's just preparation and it's confidence. And audiences are different now, and their expectations of speakers than what they were when I started in the speaking business about 25 years ago.
Hmm. What was the main difference you feel like?
The standards, because everyone did the same thing. Everyone just pretty much stood at a podium and spoke.
Hmm.
You didn't have, and some of that was because a little bit on the technology. Not everyone had a wireless mic to wear on your head, that you had a microphone, and sometimes the microphone was stationary, so you didn't have a choice in it. And as technology advanced and it became cheaper, then you had more mics that you could walk the stage with, or that you had we just would call them the Madonna mics because she was one of the first people that had the little headsets
Oh
on.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
just sort of got the name with it. And when those happened, then that started to change speaking, because then speakers could walk the stage and they had freedom to express themselves with their hands more. So that changed the engagement part of it.
Mm.
Then, PowerPoints were the big thing because that's more interesting than the transparency and doing one of those things on the projector. Uh, but even with PowerPoints, well, now we have all sorts of different things that you can do with PowerPoints, and you have more action and going in and out, and you want to
Yeah.
be careful because you don't want to make your audience nauseated because the slides are constantly moving and going in and out. Um, but I think audiences have a higher threshold, and because our attention spans have decreased so
Yeah.
much over the decades, you got to have something that grabs their attention.
Before they didn't have the phones with them, which they can play on if they are
Yeah.
bored, because their phones couldn't
Yes.
do anything and then texting and calling, so they wouldn't do that. So they just listened, and you didn't need to be as good, and they would be listening to you because there was nothing else to do. But now you are boring for
Mhm.
2 minutes. They are like, bye.
Yeah. It's absolutely. So I
They,
like to have people get shots of me on stage, like from the back of the audience,
yeah,
because I have a lot of those pictures that someone got. You can see everyone's head is up and they're looking at me
yeah. That's good.
versus you get back of the audience shot. And if someone were to look into it, and if you see a lot of people's back of the heads and they're down or they're looking at phones, that's a horrible picture to use for your speaking. Doesn't matter
Yeah.
if you're on the stage in front of 500 people, if half the audience looks like that, horrible
Yeah.
branding.
I've been to Amsterdam last year to speak, just a half an hour for the property networking event, and I was sharing with them some things, and I wanted them to take notes, to think about it, and just take notes. But 10% of people, they would have a notepad, everybody just be on the phone, and I would be
Mhm.
speaking, and the photographer would take the photo, and people would be on their phone. And after they shared with me the photo, I'm like, everybody's on the phone, and they were just taking the notes, but it looks so bad. I cannot even use those photos because everybody seems like they are not listening anything I'm saying. But
Mhm.
people are sending, and when I've been at the first event on JT Fox in January, and there was somebody writing notes in their phone, he was like, "What is it you are doing?" And I was like, "I'm writing my notes," and it's like, "On your phone?" And then he was like, he just went to him, he was like, "On your phone, you're not gonna know what is half of it." And he went through the phone and he was like, "Okay, tell me what's this? What did you write in here? What's that note? What does that mean?" And he was just asking him, asking him, and the guy was totally destroyed. He didn't know what things means because you cannot be so quick on your phone, and it cannot, yeah. So yeah, I prefer a notepad, but so many people just phones, and I hate it when I'm on the event and speaking, people on the phone taking notes, and I'm like, oh no, it doesn't look good.
Yeah. It's difficult. It's challenging. So then as a speaker, you have to get really creative and
Mm,
find a way for them to get their heads up. And
yeah.
if you're able to do that and you planned for that, letting whoever's taking the pictures in the back give them the heads up to say, hey, this is your warning sign that I'm going to try and do something, snap the pictures when this is happening.
Yeah, yeah. I usually get people to stand up or do some energy things, so they keep moving. Oh, sorry, just the arm. Yeah, it's actually 4 o'clock already, so we are 45 minutes in. I know we had some trouble issues at the beginning, but good. I think I found out a lot already from you. It's great you are doing the speaking. A lot of people I'm actually interviewing from insiders, like they are doing some kind of a speaking, which is good. So I think that's why also people are booking for them for some of podcasts because they're not afraid to speak, right?
Yes.
Which is
Yeah.
good. Yeah, amazing. Would there be any, I don't know, maybe last kind of advice you would have for someone who might be, I don't know, might be struggling or something with their business? What something that maybe you struggled in the past, what helped you to move forward in situation like that? Do you have anything?
I mean, of course, I always encourage people to know that they don't have to do it alone. That whatever problem they're experiencing, I guarantee that there's another business owner that's experiencing it themselves. That whether that's employee issues or it's the struggle of trying to find some kind of sanity and balance. So many entrepreneurs sacrifice their physical health. And again, it's short term, long term. You've got to look at it that if you are sacrificing your physical health, great, you got your business going, but at the cost of your physical health. And when that's gone, it takes a lot longer to recover from that. And if you're physically not feeling well and psychologically not doing well because they're connected, you're probably going to make some poor business decisions, and it's going to end up costing you that way too. So it never hurts to just talk to someone. Just get someone else's perspective. Be open to investing in your health, because investing in your physical health is an investment in your business.
Mm, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. It's very true. Like if you can focus on yourself and your health, it really helps with your business. Like I go for running and I can see like when I run, my days are better. Like I'm more sharp in the business. And when I'm lazy and I feel like, I'm not gonna do anything today. So, the day is actually longer and worse. So yeah, health is definitely a major thing. Thank you very much for sharing, and thank you very much for coming for this podcast, Lori. It was very nice having you. And I'll definitely see you on the Mega Success in November.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you for this opportunity. I enjoyed it.